What is happening, people? Welcome to my F1 channel. Welcome to Peter on Pole. My name is Peter in pole position, and that is correct, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about the Austrian Grand Prix. This is the preview show. Welcome to another morning. Thank you for joining me, people. Okay, thank you for everybody that's been watching the past couple of live streams. And there's been loads of us, loads of you guys have been commenting in, and I want to thank each and every single one of you. You lot are absolute legends. I totally do appreciate it. But yes, here we are with another video. There's a lot in the pipeline as well, ladies and gentlemen. Watch out for what I've got coming out tomorrow concerning all things Lando Norris. Johnny Herbert as well will be coming out on Friday. So there's a few things that I picked up over the weekend, over the past week, that I want to discuss as well. So back to the regular daily morning show here in the UK. And big up to everybody who is watching. Let me know in the comment section where you're watching from, and let me know what times you prefer, what you like to see in terms of timage of the live streams. But let's get underway. Let's talk the Austrian Grand Prix, shall we? Because we are here, people. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Yet another race, another back-to-back race. And remember, we are coming off the heels of the British Grand Prix, where Mr. Carlos Sainz wins his maiden Formula One Grand Prix. The second Spaniard to win in Formula One, and the second Spaniard to win in Formula One with the Ferrari as well. But will he be the one in pole position? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sprint race weekend. Shout out to Mahad from the Pit Stop Fracker, who mentioned that on the McLaren Fan TV show on Monday night. Usually on Tuesdays, but we had it on Monday night. So do check out that video in case you haven't watched it. But yes, who will take pole position in qualifying? This is not the sprint race. This is the qualifying part of the weekend. Okay, so that will be taking place on Friday. Who will be taking pole position? I've got my thoughts, of course, is going to be on Mr. Max Verstappen. As you can see in the thumbnail, I think, he has to he needs redemption, doesn't he? He needs to come back this weekend and sort of put things right again, because Silverstone for him was a bit of a nightmare, much to the delight of the British and Lewis Hamilton fandom. But I think in terms of this race, in terms of the qualifying rather, I think Max Verstappen will take pole. Guess what as well, though? I think Lando Norris could be in with a shout. I don't know what it is about Austria. I don't know what it is with this circuit and McLaren, but I do think as well Lando Norris will be in that mix. He will have something to say in that mix. So don't rule him out at all. But yes, Max Verstappen, the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, the world champion currently, the defending world champion, will take pole position at the Austrian Grand Prix. Now, who will win the sprint race? This could get a bit tasty. This could get a bit interesting. And I'm starting to think that a certain Charles Leclerc, ladies and gentlemen, because I think at some stage, at some point now, I think he's had enough. We're getting into that place where we're seeing some real huge frustrations with Charles. And I think, personally speaking, I do think that we're gonna see some aggression, if you will, out of Charles Leclerc, because it looks like he's had it up to here with the team. He's already starting to really get annoyed with this team this season, and it doesn't seem like they're learning from their mistakes, because they also nearly cost themselves the title, the race rather. And whether it was Monaco, whether it was in the British Grand Prix, there was a few other incidences in other races as well this season where you just think to yourself, man, Ferrari, you guys are not serious. And I keep saying, if you cue Stephen A, what can go wrong will go wrong with Ferrari. And I think, that aside, Charles has got to take this season into his own hands. I mean, he looked like he got a stern telling off from Mattia Binotto last weekend as well. Whether that's because, Charles was really upset. He was really annoyed. And I think he seemed to, after the race was done and doing the final lap to put the cars in Parc Fermé, I think was just going off. He was just going off at Mattia Binotto, going off at the team, saying like, look, guys, we can't be doing this. Like, why did you lot leave me here? Why did you lot put me in this position? I could have gone and won this race. I could have, made this a 1-2, for example. And he probably has a point. He has a shout there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of Charles Leclerc we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, watch this space. We're looking at a man who is furious. We're looking at a driver who is absolutely furious. And so I've got Charles Leclerc going in there and winning the sprint race. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. Comment down below. Who do you think is going to win the sprint race this weekend? And who will finish on the podium then? So we get to the race itself now, right? So I can't remember if now sprint races changed. Is it now that whoever's qualified, you know, wherever you qualify, sort of it counts as well for the main race on the Sunday? I can't remember. I don't know where our last sprint race was, our sprint weekend, but it seemed to be of that kind of fashion. So with that in mind, on the podium this weekend, guess what, guys? Third place. You know what? I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. Lando Norris, ladies and gentlemen, third place on the podium. Lando Norris is my prediction to finish third at the Austrian Grand Prix. He will be on the podium yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Lando Norris. I say this because he's got good form at Austria. He's really good in Austria. The McLaren seem to fit well in Austria. And just like even at Silverstone, I had a bit of hope for the McLaren boys at Silverstone purely because I don't know, it's one of them where I think it's just a matter of the car suits it. There was fast speed corners. There was no really slow speed. McLaren are terrible with the slow speed corners at the moment. But with the fast speed, it seemed like, you know, McLaren can seem to get a package together and make it work. And so I'm going to go with Mr. Lando Norris. And yeah, man, I love the guy, man. I honestly just love Lando Norris. What's not to like? Okay, that is my champion right now. The fanfare he got at the British Grand Prix. I didn't talk about this enough last week from the sort of review of the British Grand Prix, but the fanfare he was getting in Silverstone was unreal. I mean, it was like football. It was like a football atmosphere. You know, there was chanting for his name. It was constantly going on. You know, he seemed to get, you know, he doesn't have more love than Lewis, let's be very clear. But it definitely looked like, oh, the baton is going to be passed to him. You know, you'd think, you know, your George Russells are there of this world. Of course, he's in a Mercedes. I know Alex Albon sort of goes underneath the Thailand flag. But at the same time, of course, we all know that he's grown up and also grown up here in England. There's quite a few of them where you think, you know what, there would have been a few British drivers from Lewis to Norris. There would have been a few maybe in between. Jenson Button, of course, gets his love and so on. But yeah, Lando Norris, man, the fanfare he was getting, I don't know. I think it's something to watch out for, to behold. So yeah, third place, Lando Norris. Second place, Sergio Perez. The Red Bull of Sergio Perez, I think Sergio will probably be thinking he could have won on the weekend. You know, he should have won on the weekend, really, because Carlos Sainz, as much as he did a good drive and everything else, you know, he got his pole position, he won the race. I think he was there to be taken. I think he was still there to be eaten up in the race, especially when he went wide. You know, at the start of the race when Max Verstappen absolutely finished him in the first turn, in the first corner, and then of course when Carlos Sainz was ahead of Sergio Perez, there was a moment there where Sergio Perez could have capitalized on Carlos's mistakes and didn't do so. I'm pretty sure he would have been disappointed in that. And of course, you know, with safety cars and everything that happened, I don't know. I thought that Sergio Perez was within a shout here of gaining some serious ground. But listen, he got P2 last weekend, which is still, you know, he's still very, very good. So at the end of the day, Sergio Perez for me is going to be your man in P2 at the Austrian Grand Prix. He'll be on the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Who will be the first out of the Austrian Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, because of course this is difficult to always predict. You know, who's going to be the first out? I mean, you look at the British Grand Prix, you know, and you look at how much the calamities that can take place. Anything can happen at any stage at any moment in time. And so the question becomes, you know, who will be the first out? Now, remember, of course, you know, the race sort of starts, goes a little bit uphill. It's a very sharp right turn into turn one, and anything can happen there. And for that reason, people, let's just do a wild prediction. Carlos Sainz, unfortunately, you're going to get caught in a melee over there, and I think Carlos Sainz will go out out of the Austrian Grand Prix first. So from hero to zero, he's going to have, unfortunately, some bad luck. It won't be any fault of his own. He might just get caught in the melee. That first turn, especially with the way the cars, and we learned this a lot on the weekend, the way that the cars are sticking together in terms of you're able to race, close wheel-to-wheel racing, without really any problems, without really any implications as it was last year or the years prior. This time round, I do think that it's gonna cause some big issues going into that first couple of turns, really. But yeah, Carlos Sainz is my random prediction for going out first in the Austrian Grand Prix. Comment your thoughts below. Who am I concerned for? This is another one that's, again, it's hard to really predict, but nobody's really talking about this one, right? Nobody's really talking about this person all season, really. And he's had a shocker all season. He's not had a good season at all, especially with the kind of potential, albeit small potential, but there were still glimmers of, oh, hello, and you kind of got shocked because, of course, you had to remember that he was very young, and he is still very young. I think he's one of the third or fourth youngest driver on the grid. And that is Lance Stroll, because I don't get it. Nobody's really talking about him either, including myself until now. I think there is something we have to investigate here. Something right here does not make any sense whatsoever. And I don't get why Lance Stroll is just not picked up from where he left off. A couple of seasons ago, albeit circumstantial, if you will, Stroll on pole. Remember that in Turkey, 2020? The man was there. He was doing his thing. There's been moments, even when he was in that Williams all those years ago. Phenomenal stuff, getting on the podium. He was quick. He had the pace. But man, ever since then, it's like, all I've heard is just a whinging, whining, moaning, really depressing Lance Stroll, Even when I watch his interviews after a race, and it's just like, yeah, well, we tried and we couldn't do this. And yeah, there's like no enthusiasm. There's nothing that's filling me with any kind of joy or any sort of, and I genuinely don't understand. I genuinely do not understand. So, yeah, so that unfortunately, Mr. Lance Stroll, I'm concerned about you. If there's anybody else on that grid I'm concerned about as well, Daniel Ricciardo, of course, I have to be concerned for him. Last weekend, British Grand Prix, he finishes behind Nicholas Latifi. With all due respect to Nicholas Latifi and the Williams team, that car is not ready to be in the points. It's not ready to be in the points. It's not ready for points finishes this season. It's not ready to be in Q3. What's it doing in Q3 at the British Grand Prix? More so, the question is, Danny, why are you not in Q3 at the British Grand Prix? Why are you not in the points, at the British Grand Prix? Why is it always one race in, one race bad, one race in, one? It's just boring. I'm done. I'm so sorry, but I'm done. And it's not that I don't like Danny. I friggin' love Danny Ricciardo. This is why I'm so annoyed, because I was hoping this would work. This was supposed to make sense. McLaren, Lando Norris, Danny Ricciardo. It was supposed to make sense. It should have been the best driver pairing on the grid. Because look at it. Look at the talent. Look at the, just look at it. It's got, and you look at the team as well in McLaren, the potential that's there. What are we doing? What's going on? Like, I'm bored, innit? I'm bored. I'm asking that question every single week. And even Mahad as well. From on McLaren Fan TV, he had enough. He finally broke, and he even mentioned things like Nico Hülkenberg. I mean, we even talking about Nico Hülkenberg coming into this team. Listen, we can keep Nico Hülkenberg where he is. He can be third place or Rona place at the Aston Martin, right? That's fine with me. But it's just long. It's long. It's really long. I would move like heaven and earth to get probably Sebastian Vettel in that car next season, Fernando Alonso in that car next season. Somebody with pure experience that knows what they're doing. They might not necessarily be the fastest, or they might not necessarily be, they may be on the decline in terms of their peak. But man, they know what they're doing. They know what they are up to. They know what they are talking about. And I need somebody in there to be in that. So Danny Ricciardo, I'm worried about you. But listen, McLaren, put McLaren fans out of their misery. Yeah, let's end this relationship, okay? It's not working. So let's get in somebody who we can, get behind, And don't get me wrong, the fans love Danny Ricciardo, right? He's got a massive fan base for sure. And, McLaren, probably knowing them, they've gone down the commercial route. They've gone down looking at the marketing side, the branding side of things. And whatever. It is what it is. But we need to win races, McLaren. We need to be on podiums and we need to win races. That's what we need. That's what we want. Give the fans what we've waited long enough. We have labored. Because of McLaren, we lost Lewis Hamilton. We gotta understand that we lost Lewis Hamilton because of our failings, because we couldn't provide a car that was reliable. Yes, on occasions it was unbelievably fast. But you go back to that 2012 season, the last year of Lewis Hamilton at McLaren, the Chrome Vodafone days, huh? You go and have a look and see what we failed that man for years. By the way, he was world champion in 08 with McLaren, and 09, 2010, 2011, 2000. I mean, it was becoming a joke. 09 was scary, but 2010 to 2012. I mean, my goodness, what was it? But anyway, that's who I'm concerned for. Danny Ricciardo, by the way, is who I am concerned for at the Austrian Grand Prix. The one to watch out for, though, let's move on to the positive. The one to watch out for this race. Who am I looking forward to seeing in this race? Lando Norris for sure, because I think he's going to finish on the podium this weekend. I think it's going to be very good in qualifying. Sprint, I'm not too sure, but I think it'll be very good in qualifying. So I'm definitely watching out for him. Lando Norris is up there for sure to watch out for. That's me being biased as well. As a McLaren fan, I'm always watching Lando Norris. Let's be very, very clear. But if I look at elsewhere on the grid, if I look around and I have a look and see what's going on there, I'd keep an eye on Charles Leclerc for the reasons I mentioned in the sprint race prediction, because I do think we're going to see a much more aggressive. I'm intrigued to see Ferrari and their strategy. I'm intrigued to see how they behave going forward, because guys, there's a grenade at Ferrari at the moment. There is a grenade at Ferrari right now, and it is ticking. We are at the halfway stage. Race 11 this weekend out of 22. We are at the halfway stage, and there is a grenade that's about to go off at Ferrari, because nobody seems to know what they're doing in terms of the team, in terms of the direction, in terms of anything. And shout out to Johnny Herbert, because he said, listen, they've got to stop. They've got to stop doing this. They've got to get their act together and stop, flopping the base. And that video will come out on Friday. I'll talk about it more on Friday. But yeah, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. You cannot be doing this, And yeah, here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, yet again with Ferrari. So I'm watching them as a team. I'm watching how everything unfolds. I'm watching the balance of play there. I'm definitely watching out for Lando Norris, because I think he's going to have a phenomenal race weekend. Yeah, so those are the two main people I'm going to be watching out for different reasons. Race winner, ladies and gentlemen, the race winner this weekend. Remember, I said Lando Norris third on the grid. I said Sergio Perez second on the grid. The race winner of the Austrian Grand Prix 2022 will be Max Verstappen. That's absolutely correct, because this is his home. This is his circuit. Red Bull are dangerous here. They are very good here. And I look at if I look at Verstappen's record in Austria, I think he had like 1/8 place finish when he started with the Toro Rosso. And if it's not a DNF, he's usually on the podium. And last year, if you remember, we had the Styrian Grand Prix and the Austrian Grand Prix. He won both of them. He smashed both of them, right? Now, I know Lando Norris was up there and he was a cause for concern in terms of in qualifying. But Max Verstappen, man, when the car is not messing around, he wins, more or less. Unless it's Monaco, right? He wins. So in that sense, Max Verstappen is on a mission to kill this season. He's on a mission to kill, and if he can, Red Bull. Remember, they went through like a six week or 6 race, winning streak. It was just ridiculous. Ferrari were not getting anywhere near them. We're not laying a glove on them. When the car is reliable, guess what? Red Bull do bits. And I think it'll be a 1-2 finish at the Austrian Grand Prix, at their home Grand Prix. You're going to see the sea of orange, people, and the flares. The orange flares will be in full effect. And think, Verstappen got booed at the British Grand Prix. I wonder what happens to Lewis Hamilton. I want to see the pantomime. I'm liking the pantomime because, like I said, as I mentioned before, yesterday Hamilton mentioned, booing. We don't want to boo. We don't want to boo Max Verstappen. We're bigger than that. I'm like, listen, this is pantomime, man. This is part of the sport. It's not personal. Let's have the pantomime. When it's in football and you go to Old Trafford or you go wherever it is, people are booing you left, right, and center. Okay, so let's bring on the booing. I'm all for it. Max Verstappen will be your race winner. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Lewis Hamilton. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are my predictions ahead of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's a sprint weekend. Don't forget that. It's a sprint weekend. So do make sure you catch up on even a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a packed weekend. And then I think we have a break. I don't think it's a back-to-back-to-back. Surely not. Surely not. So let's have a look and see. I think, what is the next one? Is it the French Grand Prix after this? So let's have a look and very briefly see what is next. And it is the French Grand Prix after, and it's not back-to-back. So thankfully for that, okay? But yes, people, those are my predictions of the Austrian Grand Prix. Let me know in the comment section down below what your predictions are for this Grand Prix. Thank you to the new subscribers, by the way. I've been seeing you guys joining me. Thank you for joining me. Do make sure you smash the like button on these videos, and I want to hear from you. This stuff is for you, so I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's have a little dialogue. I'll be getting through the comment section as we speak as well today, and yeah, it'll be interesting to chop up what has been an interesting week in Formula One. And yeah, but with that said, people, until then,